Alright, so as usual, the meta has changed and most players are guessing their way through hero picks trying to find the right main to help them climb. But if you're trying to win consistently, here's the truth. Only a handful of characters are running the game during certain periods of each season. This tier list breaks down my top 10 heroes that I believe are dominating Marvel rivals in low elo this season based on stats, team value, matchup strength, and raw carry power. Alright, so first on my list is gonna be it's gonna be Thor. Now, y'all, some people might say I'm biased because I'm a Thor main, but hear me out though. Hear me out. All right, so Thor, he's a tank DPS hybrid. All right, his win rate percentage right now is 51.76%. He's exceptional in 1v1 scenarios, and with Thor's cooldown cycles, it allows for continuous pressure, bro. It's like the amount of uptime you can get with Thor, like between his cooldowns, if you cycle it right, there's only like 3 seconds in between of you just swinging the hammer, really. If you could just hit that awakening rune, oh man. All right, and another thing is his ability to disrupt enemy formations and eliminate key targets like Hawkeye and Moon Knight, man, just makes him invaluable, bro. I'm telling you. And he performs best with another tank and on maps with verticality. So someone with a shield like Doctor Strange just frees Thor up so much to just play like a tanky DPS, and it just disrupts the whole team, bro. I'm telling you, no matter how Thor wants to play, where he wants to play, in any comp he wants to play, he can fit in. So one of the weaknesses for Thor in low elo is he requires a lot of map awareness and game sense. If you can lock those two things in, you will be all right. And he also pairs well with tanks that can initiate fights like the Thing. The Thing can just charge right in and just be an immediate distraction, leaving Thor an open door to just come through from an off angle and do what he do. And one thing that I can say about Thor is that when he gets countered is really by heroes with strong crowd control. I do get into a lot of trouble if I'm out of position and they do focus me and hit me with a lot of crowd control. Especially when it's like a lot of burst damage. So you got to be careful with that because it can really interrupt your flow. And with Thor, you really want to be in the rhythm with the battle. That's what keeps him up so long. The more he's in the mix and the more he's fighting, the more shield he gets. So overall for me, Thor is just a great pick, bro, especially because in low elo, a lot of people aren't playing consistently with each other. So it's a lot of 1v1 pick your fight and just will make it happen type stuff in low elo. So with Thor, you can always win your 1v1s, even a 2v1 if you can handle them. All right, so next up is Emma Frost. Now I'm putting Emma Frost in S tier, and it's because of her just the amount of damage she can put out over time is just crazy. Her win rate right now is 50.38%. She can actually do a lot of things as a tank that others can't, which is great. And she can also, if used properly, she can also solo. Her shield mitigates a lot of damage for one, and the cooldown time is really not that long, so she can keep that shield up active. When she wants to go diamond form, it adds a lot more pressure to what she's already doing while she's taking the damage. All right, especially against out of position enemies. So if she's in the mix and decides to go diamond form and your healer is out of position, man, they better know what to do. But it's hard to get out of that situation with Emma Frost. Also, her primary attack builds up damage over time. So the fact that you can culminate all these things together and put them in a flow to where you can just constantly put out damage over time and mitigate damage is incredible. And let's not forget about her ultimate, which can turn the tide of fights. At first, I didn't think it was that strong until I actually started using it at the right time and in the right moments. And it can really, really, really help your team out. One of her weaknesses for me, though, is that she really relies on her support to keep up the pressure. She can't just get in and get out. She doesn't have as much mobility as the other tanks, I would say. But she does work well with heroes that can capitalize on her crowd control, which is a big thing. And I would say her biggest counter will be high burst damage that can bypass her defenses. So if you can get a lot of pressure on her, especially from range and break her shield, you'll be all right. All right, so next up I got Peni Parker. I'm putting Penny in S tier just because of her zoning capabilities. Her win rate right now is 51.91%. And there's a lot of things I love about Peni, especially after she got the buffs. When she got the buffs, I was excited to play Peni again, because that's exactly what she needed. She needed to be a little more durable. So why is Peni an S tier? So she's difficult to deal with when setting up off on angles. Her constant crowd control and chip damage draw enemy aggression, which lead to free kills with her mines. If you ever faced the Peni, you know how dangerous those mines can be. She has high mobility with self-shielding and healing, making her self-reliant, so she doesn't really need healers in a sense, because she can always set up near a health pack, but on her own she can survive a lot longer. Some of her weaknesses, it would be she's not really good at solo tanking, you know what I'm saying? But in low elo, where a lot of it comes down to pick your match and get the kill type of play, you know what I'm saying, like a team deathmatch type, she's perfect for that. You know, of course you're going to run into those teams that coordinate, but a lot of it in low elo is very much 1v1ish, you know what I'm saying? And another one of her weaknesses is flying characters that can take out her nest and distract her. A great synergy from her is where she benefits from teammates who can distract or engage enemies, allowing her to set up her mines and her traps on her off angles. But she does get countered by heroes that can close gaps quickly and apply pressure. So like Iron Fist. Iron Fist has good defense and very good cooldowns, and he can really close a gap quickly. So he can sometimes bypass the mines or get in and out so fast that he barely takes any damage, can heal back up, and then get back into the fight with Peni. So players like that you would try to avoid. If you're learning something new already, hit that like button so I know to keep these coming. All right, moving on to Venom. Now Venom I'm placing in S tier as well, because Venom is just extremely hard to kill. And it takes so much attention away from what you need to do on the front line. His win rate right now is 47.78%, and some of his strengths are going to be high survivability when cooldowns are managed correctly. He's mobile and he's not hard to learn. He exploits the lack of coordination in low elo, especially when healers forget to support each other, which does happen a lot. As a Thor main, I see a lot of the times when I'm diving a support, they don't really help the other support like that. And when you have Venom and Thor on the same team diving and rotating, I love to rotate the dive. His weaknesses though, he can struggle against coordinated crowd control and burst damage. And though there isn't that much of that in low elo, Venom does take up that much space and he does require that much attention. So people will, focus him. He does excel with healers who can enable him to keep up the pressure and his survivability engagements. With the meta being so dive heavy, Venom is one of those heroes that he's a must pick, especially because you can really go and survive for a very long time and give a lot of value to your team just by being a distraction alone, even if you don't get that many kills. All right, next on my list is Moon Knight. Now, Moon Knight, I'm placing him in S tier, the stealth assassin. Man, Moon Knight was always one of my underrated picks. All right, I always saw how strong Moon Knight was, but I also always saw how weak Moon Knight was. Again, being a Thor main, I know. But with his buffs now, it is a little tougher to kill him. His win rate is 45.49%. And there's a lot of things I like. There's a lot of strengths about Moon Knight. The buff made it harder for him to reach when he's played correctly. Like I was saying, his escape ability is a lot better now. He capitalizes on low elo players' tendency to ignore utility destruction. Those unks, a lot of people leave those things laying around. I get scared to step in them, but I know somebody has to take them out. He deals a lot of damage if he's left unchecked. And he has an ultimate that can wipe whole teams out while he's gaining shield, I might add. A lot of people don't pay attention to Moon Knight, but that's my job. So I'm always paying attention to Moon Knight. I've always known how strong Moon Knight could be. Some of his weaknesses though is he's vulnerable if he's focused early or if his utility is destroyed, you know what I'm saying? Basically just killing all his unks. And if players are constantly denying him making plays, it could be a tough time for Moon Knight. He does work best in comps that group the enemy together in order to charge his ult even faster, and heroes that can distract or displace enemies. All right, next up I want to talk about Scarlet Witch, another hero that after the buff just got really strong. Her win rate is 47.80%, and the recent changes enhanced her damage and synergy with Doctor Strange, which is really, really powerful, bro. Like, the amount of damage she puts out now versus before is a little better, and she just goes crazy. She's effective against dives too, due to her stun and her consistent damage output, and she's easy to learn. She's not really that hard to learn, which makes it a solid pick in low elo, because you want to find heroes that are easy to learn and can add a lot of value to your team while being able to take your 1v1s and get your picks. Some of her weaknesses though is her nerf mobility, which makes positioning crucial. But that's a fundamental we all should be practicing, right? No matter the role or hero we play. And she really complements teams with strong frontline tanks. I noticed that she works very well with good tanks on the front line, but her off angling is very good, because she can always get back to her team if need be. She's just really countered by high mobility characters that can just get past her stuns and close in on her really fast. This is why her positioning is very important. Now, moving on to Squirrel Girl. Yes, Squirrel Girl is on my S tier list. You don't see too many people playing Squirrel Girl in low elo for some reason, but this is why I'm letting you know. Squirrel Girl's win rate right now is 45.91%, and the reason why I'm putting Squirrel Girl on here is because she's capable of spamming from across the map and dealing consistent high damage. Her ultimate is really powerful. She's excellent at disengaging from threats, and she is especially good against tanks that's unfamiliar with countering her, because she can just stand back and just put out a lot of damage in crowd control. Man, I hate getting that from Squirrel Girl, because if you ever ran across a good Squirrel Girl, you know the pain. You know the pain. I would say a weakness that she has though is that the better the mechanics, the better she would be. So I know this tier list is based on characters there where you don't need a lot of mechanics to win, which you don't with Squirrel Girl, because like I said, you can sit across the map and just spam acorns all day and you can do some damage. But with Squirrel Girl, it's like the better you are mechanically, the better she would be. She benefits from teams that can create distractions, allowing her to just free fire, but she is countered by long range burst damage and heroes that can close distances really quickly. So if you're going to be Squirrel Girl, your positioning is very important, but she does have escapability and she can get back into the fight really quick. Next up is a hero that deserves an award, bro. I swear, Rocket, bro. Rocket. Rocket has always had the best win rate in the game, always. His win rate right now is 53.71%. Or is it the pick rate? Either one. I think it's the win rate, but Rocket has always had a good win rate. His BRB station provides unmatched utility, bro, and changes to his ultimate enhance his support value is so important in the match, bro. It just keeps us alive and keeps us going. And the changes to his ultimate where you get bonus health, man, I said that when I first saw his ult, I was like, he's a support, but he's not giving us any healing. And then this came around and I was like, bro, this is perfect. This is exactly what he needed. Plus, his mobility allows him to stay alive, keeping the team in fights longer. So the longer Rocket stays around, the better chance you have of coming back if you die, the better chance if you have of his ult changing the fight. Is like Rocket being in the game all the time. No wonder why he has the best win rate. Some of his weaknesses though, he doesn't do a lot of damage. I would say that's his biggest weakness. He does enough, but compared to other supports, he just doesn't compare. You know what I'm saying? I think that's my only concern about him. And I would say that he's mostly countered by heroes that can just slip past the front line and then just chase him down, especially if they have good enough mechanics to just take him out. But he does have enough escapability where you can just run on walls and just scurry around enough to get out of harm's way. I got a question though, who's carrying your games right now? Drop your name below in the comments and let me see. Next up, we got Cloak Dagger, and I'm placing them in A tier. Now, Cloak Dagger has a win rate of 48.31%, and the reason I'm placing Cloak Dagger on my list is because they are exceptional at keeping teammates alive without requiring precise aim. Most of the other healers, you need to be able to hit your shots in order to be good at healing your teammates, but with Cloak Dagger, you really don't need that. The healing is powerful, and the ultimate can shift the moment of any fight, so being able to have all that at your disposal is great for low elo. Some of the weaknesses though, vulnerable if focused by players with good aim or dive tanks that can force out cooldowns and disrupt their healing. But she does work well with aggressive teams that need sustained healing, and I would say that their biggest counter would be burst damage and heroes that can just disrupt their healing patterns and force them to take out their cooldowns. Because once their cooldowns are gone, Cloak Dagger is like a sitting duck. They can't do anything but just dance around. It's so funny. Now, coming in at number 10 on the tier list is going to be Mr. Iron Fist. Man, this guy. Bro, this guy. He has a win rate of 50.77% right now, and Iron Fist just goes crazy, bro. He's one of the most spam-heavy characters, bro, especially with that auto lock. Just punch, 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 whatever he wants to do. It's just hard to deal with, especially when you can cycle through his defenses and his cooldowns correctly. Man, he has great mobility, and he deals significant damage to tanks and shines in low elo where, like I said, a lot of 1v1 matches are going on. So if he can take out one teammate, man, that's all it takes. One teammate to just get taken out and then just get the team to stagger and you gold. I would say the downside to Iron Fist is that he loses effectiveness when his cooldowns aren't managed correctly or if he gets focused. Once he gets focused and he can't get out, that's when he just becomes, you know what I'm saying? It's easy to shut him down. He does pair well with dive tanks that can distract or engage with enemies. That way he can just come in at an off angle or he can just dive your support and just cause a wreck, bro. He is just, once he gets on a roll, he can't be stopped. And I would say he's countered a lot by coordinated crowd control and focus fire, which again is hard to come by in low elo. So if you ever get in a lobby where they're not focusing you, you better take advantage as Iron Fist. Now, even though this is a tier list of the top 10 best heroes to choose, there are characters that you should avoid, like Hawkeye, for example. His win rate is below 48%, and he requires just way too much aim and low elo. And if you're in low elo, a lot of people in low elo are not that mechanically skilled. So having to try to be mechanically skilled all the time just to hit your shots and bring value to your team is a no-go. That goes the same for Black Widow. Her win rate is 45% right now. And she has no survivability if her aim is off. So if you could just dive Black Widow and make her waste a little cooldown, I mean, she's a sitting duck. Another person is Adam Warlock. Oh my God, bro. This guy, he needs help. Someone help him. Devs, we're calling out to you. He just needs triple support. Really? Adam Warlock is just, if you get him to go through his one thing, he's just, you can really just beat up on, man, there's just so much to say about Adam Warlock. Just please fix him. Now, there is an underrated high value pick that I would suggest that you take, and that would be Captain America. Yeah, he might be a little hard to master with his melee cancels, but Cap, man, he can really help your team out. He is very effective, especially when it comes to stalling the point. Man, unmatched. So if you're in low elo and trying to figure out who can actually help you carry, not just look good on highlight reels, these are the 10 I'd lock in right now. But here's the thing though, it doesn't matter if you're playing Thor, Scarlet Witch, or Rocket. If you're out of position, you're losing fights before they even start. I broke this down in full detail in my Marvel Rivals positioning guide, how to rotate, take smart fights, and survive longer even if your aim isn't perfect. Just hit the link below and I'm out. The link will be in the description, also on the side right here on the screen somewhere at the end. So just be on the lookout for that if you want to get better at your positioning. Other than that, man, I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one.